Hi, how you doing? A little while ago, I made a short video looking at 5 pictures from my personal collection of books that I found the most amusing. A few of you commented that it would make a nice series, and 1 or 2 suggested that more serious pictures would be nice to look at too. So that's what we're going to do today. 5 of the most quintessential pictures from the bare knuckle era. Before we dive into it, just like normal, I'm going to give you a little context, a bit of a disclaimer if you like. These are my personal choices, yours may differ, and that's okay. These are all from the pre-London prize ring era, and they're pictures that have influenced me the most. They aren't a complete listing of all the pictures, and I'm pretty sure that as soon as the video goes live, I'll remember one that I should have put in, so there'll probably be a follow-up video. But for now, let's start with number 1. And it's a good one. This is, or maybe isn't, James Figg's trade card. Early sources describe this as being his, made for him by William Hogarth, who depicted him several times. Nowadays, it's considered that it definitely isn't by Hogarth, and may even be a forgery that was made some years after Figg died. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert in the history of art, able to date a print and tell you who made it, but I do know that this is an image that has been doing the rounds for years, and even if it is a forgery, it was still made in the 18th century and captures a moment in the evolution of recreational violence perfectly. And there's one hanging on the wall in my hallway, so I was never going to leave it out of this list. Number 2 is a personal favourite of mine for several reasons. We'll come to those in a second. Towards the end of the first quarter of the 1800s, Pierce Egan, the famous sporting writer, was publishing his best-selling book, Life in London, in weekly instalments, following the exploits of 2 young men by the names of Tom and Jerry. It followed them as they went out to see a bit of life in the poorer areas of London. It was illustrated by George and Robert Cruikshank, and one of those images depicted the pair receiving instruction from none other than Mr. John Jackson at his rooms in Bond Street. It's a great picture, in and of itself, but for anyone interested in fencing history, it's a veritable goldmine with foils, fencing masks, fencing gloves, cudgels, instructional images on the walls, including some that are clearly images we still know of today. It's a wonderful glimpse into the past, and there was no way it was ever not going to be on this list. Number 3 is a little more obvious a choice. Daniel Mendoza had to be here. I took a long time debating with myself which of the very many images to use, but in the end, this one of him in his famous fighting stance won out. Do I need to say any more? It's Mendoza, right? Number 4 is a little more controversial. This is one of the many depictions of the title fight between Tom Cribb and Thomas Molyneux. It's very clear to anyone that reads any of the many depictions of the fight that Molyneux was robbed. But this picture goes a step further. The vast majority of the descriptions of any of the black fighters of the day show clearly that racism was perfectly normal and played a huge part in Molyneux's loss. Black fighters were considered uncultured, loutish and unskilled. This image captures that perfectly, showing the mighty Cribb triumphing over Molyneux, with both him and Richmond being depicted almost as caricatures. Despite Molyneux's many wins and his amazing rise from the lowest possible of starts to being cheated of the title of first ever champion of the world, he's usually depicted as a loser. And that to me is a depiction of a defining moment in the history of boxing. The 5th picture is, if I'm being honest, a bit of a cheat. Because yes, it is a picture, but it's a 14-foot long roll entitled Going to a Fight, the Sporting World in all its variety of style and costume along the road from Hyde Park Corner to Moleseyhurst. It's by our friend Robert Cruikshank again, and captures a vast array of the types of people that might attend a prize fight, and a lot of the incidental things that you may expect to see. It definitely deserves a video all of its own, but for now I can only recommend you go take a look. It contains the prize fight itself, drinking, racing, bull baiting, other fights, a betting stand, a man on the receiving end of a schoolboy prank, and so much more. It's an absolute gem. So what did I miss? What pictures should I have included that I didn't? Which did I include that I shouldn't have? Let me know. Put something in the comments, and if you aren't already, maybe consider subscribing. There are now less than 2 weeks for you to still get your limited edition Fight Team t-shirt, so don't leave it too late. And to those of you still here at the very end of the video, Fight Team!